Warning! Do not watch on an empty stomach and make sure your fridge is well stocked. The next day, in his own restaurant, the head chef was still puzzled. Who was that guy? He can't be an ordinary player. It turned out that the man was none other than the blonde chef Rice had conquered with his chicken skewer. Still perplexed, he wondered how Rice could turn such a simple dish into something so extraordinary. His guess wasn't far off. Rice had won many titles thanks to his culinary prowess. Recalling the time he ate the grilled chicken skewers in the game, his reaction left both Rice and Melina feeling somewhat embarrassed. The way he indulged in the delicious flavors was like watching a girl blush from something highly stimulating. That chicken skewer was so delicious it nearly stripped away what little dignity he had left. Rice, in real life. I'm actually a chef at a restaurant. You've seen my name, haven't you? Korean Cuisine King. My restaurant is pretty famous on social media. Anyway, you also work in a restaurant, right? As fellow chefs, we should share tips with each other. Tell me your secret recipe. Wow, do you just casually ask people for their secrets like that? For someone as clever as you, that's a pretty bold question. But Rice was honest and said he had no secret recipe at all. He just followed simple cooking instructions. Yet, the other guy didn't believe him, even though Rice insisted he was being completely serious. Haha, alright then, if you insist. I get it. You don't want to reveal your secrets to anyone because you're afraid of losing your edge. Right? So, he tried probing. I noticed your dish was salty. You used salt, didn't you? Yes, I used a bit of salt. Rice replied. The man asked again, but where did you get salt in the middle of the forest? Did you buy it with money? Rice vaguely answered, that's not it. Just broaden your perspective, and you'll find what you're looking for. If you observe carefully, you'll discover what you need. Rice was referring to paying attention to the game's instructions. But the guy misunderstood, thinking he had to search the forest. This guy was quite arrogant. Even though he couldn't get any real information, he still acted like he had the upper hand. Alright then. Since it's our first meeting, if you don't want to speak openly, I'll try to figure it out on my own. Lucky for you, I'm a very forgiving person. Melina, standing nearby, was boiling with anger at his arrogant attitude. She shouted directly at his smug face. Hey, even as an outsider, I think you're being really unreasonable. If you're curious, figure it out yourself instead of pestering people when you don't know anything. Who do you think you are? Expecting everything for free? He was so thick-skinned that even after being scolded, he didn't seem embarrassed at all. In fact, he was even drawn to Melina's cuteness. Oh, you're so adorable, even if you're just a game character. I bet you're really pretty in real life. Too bad, I already have a girlfriend. My imagination is way too vivid. Cheerfully, he asked to add Melina as a friend. But she, still angry with his attitude, refused. While they bickered, Rice ignored the guy's rudeness and focused on tidying up. After finishing, Rice bid Melina farewell and logged out of the game. Seeing him log out, Melina also decided to leave. Noticing that they were both about to go, the guy called out in a hurry, "Wait, are you two close friends in real life? Let me join, add me." But Rice and Melina ignored him, logging out together, leaving the guy in a frustrated mood. Recalling what happened in the game, the picky chef held his head in frustration. They just logged out like that. It'll be hard to meet that guy and girl again. Why did they do that? I didn't do anything wrong. To this day, he still didn't realize where he went wrong, either pretending or truly clueless. A waitress noticed him sitting there, holding his head and groaning, and seemed a bit annoyed. Just then, an older customer entered the restaurant. Looking around the place, he commented, "I've been here before. The owner isn't around today." Huh? And that rude head chef over there is just sitting around. I came back because I heard the bibimbap here is very famous. Couldn't pass it up, but I still don't like this place. He turned to the waitress and said, "Please make sure the egg yolk in the bibimbap is well cooked for me." The girl relayed the customer's request to the kitchen. The head chef, looking irritated, sighed. "Such a hassle. Just eat whatever you're given. Why make requests?" Then, turning to Lee Rim, he said, "Hey, kitchen hand, you make the bibimbap." Lee Rim responded, "I only cook when you're not around." The chef took on a superior tone, "Lazy. In this kitchen, my word is law. This is just a way to test your skills. Don't argue, just do it." How do you expect to survive in the military with such laziness? His arrogant attitude made everyone uncomfortable, but Lee Rim remained calm, only focused on cooking. Soon, an enticing plate of bibimbap, vibrant with a variety of vegetables, mushrooms, and a perfectly cooked egg, was served. The man looked at the bibimbap with an indifferent expression. I've traveled all over Korea for months just to find a good bibimbap. I can tell the flavor just by looking at it. This dish looks very ordinary, but I still have to try a bit. He mixed everything together and took a spoonful of rice with all the seasonings, slowly bringing it to his mouth to taste. This texture, this temperature, this flavor, the perfectly cooked egg yolk, the perfectly cooked rice, the ideal amount of sesame oil and vegetables. Everything in this bibimbap is wonderful. The perfect flavor exploded in his mouth, completely changing his attitude. The harmonious taste captivated him, and he couldn't stop shoveling spoonfuls of rice into his mouth. The wonderful flavors continuously assaulted his taste buds, bringing him immense satisfaction. This is truly a feast for the senses. So delicious, so wonderful. To be able to enjoy this is truly a happiness. After finishing his meal, he asked the waitress, "Hey miss, did the head chef here change?" She replied, "No, sir, it's still the same chef. Is there a problem with the food?" He joyfully said, "Oh no, the food is excellent. I really enjoyed it. I've been here before, but the taste of this dish is entirely different from before." The girl was also excited. "You noticed? Recently, many people have been praising this dish." She whispered to him, "Actually, this bibimbap was made by our new kitchen assistant." Her words left him extremely surprised, unable to believe that such a delicious dish was made by a kitchen assistant. He was impressed by the perfect balance of all the ingredients. To achieve that, one must be a highly experienced professional chef. But he didn't understand why someone like that would be working as a kitchen assistant in a small restaurant. When paying the bill, he couldn't stop being amazed by the dish he just had. It was the first time he had enjoyed such a perfect bibimbap. In his mind, he kept wondering why such a fantastic chef was working as a kitchen assistant in a small restaurant. Unable to let it go, he requested to speak with Lee Rim. Lee Rim happily met the intriguing customer. "Yes, sir, I'm listening. What can I do for you?" He gently said, "It's nothing serious. I'm just a bit curious. I heard from the girl that you made the bibimbap, right? I was very surprised by your skill. The dish you made today was the best I've ever had. I have been here before, but back then it was just an average dish. But today was completely different. The quality far exceeded previous times. It was so wonderful that it can truly be called real cooking." After speaking, he took out his business card and handed it to Lee Rim. Faced with his compliments, Lee Rim could hardly believe that the dish he prepared could be so good. He even left his business card with a message. "With your skills, you shouldn't be working as a kitchen assistant, but I think you have your reasons. However, if you ever need help, don't hesitate to call me. I'll give you a position that matches your current abilities." Through his way of talking and deep understanding of cuisine, it was clear that he was not an ordinary person. After the customer left, the two waitress girls congratulated him. "Look at the business card. He's inviting you." It turned out he was the director of Myung Restaurant, apparently a large and famous restaurant. While dreaming about it, the annoying voice of the head chef rang out again. "Hey assistant. Why did you leave the kitchen without my permission?" Lee Rim responded, "Oh, head chef, the customer called for me, so I stepped out for a moment." Then, Lee Rim began to be scolded harshly. The head chef used rather vulgar words with visible anger, perhaps still frustrated from his game earlier. The head chef's rude and disrespectful attitude continued, but Lee Rim remained polite and bowed in apology. Seeing this, the head chef yelled even louder, but Lee Rim still did not show any resistance. The waitress beside him became very annoyed at the chef's unreasonable behavior. Not stopping there, the head chef threatened, "In this kitchen, I'm the king. If I tell the owner, you'll be fired immediately. Do you hear me?" Unable to tolerate it, the girl spoke up in defense. "Head chef, Mr. Rice didn't leave on his own. The customer really called him." But the head chef didn't listen and continued shouting. A heated argument ensued. Seeing the tension, Lee Rim bowed and tried to mediate. "I sincerely apologize, head chef. This was my fault, and I will correct it in the future." I won't leave the kitchen without permission. Please forgive me. Seeing Lee Rim's sincere attitude, the head chef had no reason to continue arguing and fell silent. That afternoon, after the shift ended, Lee Rim went home feeling a bit sad. He thought about his loss of smell and taste. He had been waiting a long time for them to return. But they hadn't. He once dreamed of opening a restaurant where no one had to wait. But now it seemed like a distant dream. Drinking alone, Lee Rim thought about being scolded and receiving the business card. Normally, he would have accepted the offer immediately. But currently, with his condition, he felt it was an unattainable dream. Sighing to dispel his sadness, he logged back into the game to find happiness in being able to smell and taste food. The atmosphere in the game, the smell of grass and trees, was indeed more pleasant than real life and better than any drink. Rice closed his eyes and enjoyed the best that nature had to offer. Remembering his new skill, Rice used it to climb a coconut tree. This is amazing. Climbing a tree has never been this easy. He could even walk on the tree without using his hands. Just like walking on the ground. Rice felt incredibly excited about this wonderful skill. He quickly climbed up to the top of the tree. A breathtaking view unfolded before his eyes. The forest under the sunset created a vivid and magical painting. The warm golden light from the western sky spread, creating a space full of life. The cool, fresh air made the atmosphere pleasant and relaxing. This is amazing. Even though it's just a game, it feels more real than the real world. The scene shifted to the next day. Rice started his daily work, preparing ingredients ready to serve customers. Today, the owner arrived early, in a very good mood. He asked the head chef to make him a bibimbap with a scowling face. The head chef grumbled, "I can't do that, sir. Can't you see we're preparing ingredients?" However, the owner ignored him and walked closer. "You can ask Rice to help." "No way, I have to supervise. It only works when I'm in charge." Hearing this, the owner teased, "Supervising what? I see you're playing with your phone." While the two argued, Rice remained focused on his work. Annoyed by the owner's interruption, the head chef angrily said, "I'm the head chef. I manage this kitchen. I won't let you waste ingredients." The owner asked back, "Is feeding me a waste?" "Oh, no, I was just kidding." Seeing he couldn't convince the head chef, he turned to the assistant chef Rice and asked him to make the food for him. Very quickly, the delicious bibimbap was served to the owner. Just by looking at it, the owner was impressed because it looked so appealing. The moment he tasted the first spoonful, his face showed clear astonishment. Unable to speak, he just looked at the kitchen assistant and then back at the dish. But his eyes said it all. It was absolutely amazing. Later that day, the owner called the head chef to the back of the restaurant to talk directly. Let the assistant make the bibimbap. The head chef thought he misheard and asked again, "What did you say? Just the bibimbap?" The owner shook his head. "No, and other dishes too. You should teach him everything. I think he's extraordinary. Although I'm not an expert, I am the restaurant owner. He's truly talented. Moreover, the dishes he cooks are really delicious. It's a waste to keep him as a kitchen assistant. You understand, if we keep going like this, the restaurant won't develop well. I think he could be the deputy chef." Hearing the owner praise someone else, the head chef trembled with anger, threw his cigarette forcefully, and shouted furiously, "Deputy chef? No way. You've only tried one dish and now you want to put him ahead of me? This is absurd." Angry, he stormed into the kitchen and threw his gloves at Rice, intentionally causing trouble. "I told you to store the gloves properly. Leaving them in the sink will make them dirty and moldy." Even though Rice explained, the head chef continued to pick a fight, looking at Rice with disdain and sarcastically saying, "Now you're probably going to win another award, right? You should thank me for training you." Despite his words, Rice remained calm and unfazed. Seeing no reaction, the head chef pressed further, spewing harsh words. "Do you know what a chef relying solely on skills can accomplish? This is an entire career. You need to learn time management and gain experience. Skills, they don't matter much in this field." Realizing he was going too far, Rice finally spoke up, "Head chef, aren't you being too harsh?" This unexpected pushback from Rice angered him even more. "Are you out of your mind?" Rice responded calmly, "I am perfectly clear. I ask that you be a bit more respectful. It's unbelievable that a head chef would belittle skills, which are fundamental in this profession. If you're a chef, you should understand that. Being corrected, he shouted to cover up his inadequacy. What? You insolent brat. Are you done talking? Basic skills? Do you think you're so great? Do you think you know everything? You little punk? This time, Rice didn't let him continue his rant. He sharply retorted, Head chef. I've had enough of you. No matter what you say, I can't respect either your skills or your personality. Seeing the tension, the waitress tried to intervene. But given his disdainful attitude, it wasn't easy. Unable to argue back, he said, I'm the head chef of this place. No matter who you are or how skilled you are, this kitchen is mine. This is not a place for you to act out. At this moment, Rice thought, what a despicable and shameless man. He continued to berate Rice mercilessly. The weak often trample others to feel great. At this point, Rice decided he couldn't stay in a place where someone disrespected the culinary profession. There's no need to say anything more. Head chef, you can stay where you want. I no longer want to be here even for another moment. Saying that, Rice ripped off his apron and decisively walked out, leaving the head chef and the waitress in shock. His actions made the head chef feel even more disrespected. Unable to remain calm, he shouted, You scoundrel, come back here. You just leave. The four of us here can still manage. You were never welcome here from the start. Useless fool, get out of my sight. By the time the owner arrived, the situation had almost become irreparable. Lee Rim no longer wanted to stay in a place where a head chef didn't respect the culinary profession. Lee Rim walked away slowly, his mind swirling with thoughts. I had promised myself that I would endure no matter what. I was determined, but even if I lose my sense of taste and smell, or even relationships, I can never lose my dignity in the culinary profession. In a melancholy mood with those thoughts, Lee Rim wandered around and then stopped at a bench in the park. Sitting there with lingering regrets. No matter how difficult life gets, he could never throw away this fragile and painful pride. As he sat there, lost in thought, the man from before suddenly appeared and patted him on the shoulder. Hey. Young man, remember me? I'm the one who gave you my business card last time. It turned out he had followed Lee Rim from the restaurant to here. Since their first meeting, he couldn't forget the impression Lee Rim had left on him. Seeing that Lee Rim seemed troubled, he asked, Are you okay? Yes. Thank you, sir. I'm okay. Then Lee Rim told him what had happened. The man sympathized with Lee Rim because he had witnessed the rude behavior of the difficult head chef. Placing a hand on Lee Rim's shoulder, he gently suggested, Young man, I want you to come work at my restaurant as a real chef. Surprised by his offer, Lee Rim couldn't find the words. The man smiled. It's my restaurant. I want to hire you. So I'd like to test your skills first. Faced with this sincere offer, Lee Rim still felt dejected. He confessed, My skills are not the important issue. But I've lost the essence of being a chef. I lost my sense of smell and taste in an accident. The man reassured him. Why do you think that? Don't you know how excellent your technique is? You're too modest. So why did you argue with that head chef? Lee Rim replied sadly. No, sir. We didn't argue. There were just some unresolved issues. It was my fault too. I always work hard, but that doesn't mean everyone will like me. The man continued to encourage him. Lack of ambition will get you nowhere. Youth shouldn't be like that. Let bygones be bygones. Now you have to think about the future. I've lived almost 70 years, and I realized my true desire was to open a restaurant. And I've only just achieved that dream. However, the restaurant is too quiet. That's why I need passionate young people like you. Starting a dream at 70. Well, he's actually 67. He must be the Korean version of KFC. Seeing the man's trust in him, Lee Rim didn't hide. I used to be a head chef. But an accident left me without the ability to taste or smell. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. But my condition will cause you trouble. I can't do it. Lee Rim choked up and couldn't say more. But the man still reached out his arm and smiled kindly. Disability doesn't matter. Let's have a trial first. I can't afford to lose a talented chef like you. I mean, this is the official recruitment interview. Faced with the man's sincere attitude, Lee Rim felt shy. He couldn't believe someone would trust him so much. Shaking the man's hand, Lee Rim, moved, said, Thank you. I will do my best in the interview. The man took Lee Rim to his restaurant. A traditional yet luxurious establishment. Upon arrival, Lee Rim realized the restaurant was only a 5-minute walk from his house. How convenient. A great job, close to home, and a boss who likes him. Fate has everything planned for you. Lee Rim. Inside, the restaurant was neatly arranged, making Lee Rim very excited. Seeing the cooking tools, he wanted to start working right away. To test his skills, the man asked Lee Rim to cook any signature Korean dish, including the bibimbap he had previously made for him. Lee Rim pondered on what to choose as it would evaluate all his skills and sensitivity. He began to check the available ingredients. There was meat, kimchi, basic spices, ramen, noodles, and oil. After a while, Lee Rim smiled confidently. It seemed he had chosen his dish. Lee Rim asked, "Do you like noodles?" He started making bibimbap. Though simple, this dish requires high skills to make it delicious. The man sat outside, and the aroma from the kitchen was enough to make his mouth water. Finally, the dish was complete and attractively presented, stimulating the taste buds. It was radish bibimbap noodles with daikon kimchi, made by the owner himself. He took the first bite, and his eyes showed clear amazement. At that moment, another man walked in. It seemed he knew the owner. He called out, "Director Lim, get me something to eat. I'm starving." Seeing the elderly man, Lee Rim politely greeted him. The man was surprised to see a young guy there. "Who are you? Son or grandson?" Lee Rim, with his head still lowered, replied, "No, sir. I'm just here for an interview. My name is Lee Rim. Nice to meet you." Meanwhile, Director Lim was so engrossed in the dish that he didn't notice someone had arrived. The man had to call loudly to get his attention, but Director Lim was slightly annoyed. "Didn't you see I was eating? You startled me." The man asked Lee Rim to make him a serving like Director Lim's. Lee Rim quickly obliged. Looking at the dish, the man exclaimed, "Ah, I used to eat this a lot. It's said that the elderly make this better than the young. But that's a misconception." Tasting the first bite, the man was amazed. "Oh God. The noodles wrap around the tongue like a cord. Soft like being caressed by a beautiful girl's hand. The radish is fresh, with a spicy, sweet, and sour flavor that makes me feel as excited as if I were swimming in the ocean. This refreshing feeling makes me feel young again. So satisfying." After they both finished, Lee Rim shyly asked, "So, am I hired?" "Of course. With such results, you definitely passed the test." Returning to the game with a relaxed mind, Rice felt truly rejuvenated by the owner's kindness. "Ah, so refreshing. The smell of the grass seems to wash away all my fatigue." As Rice was enjoying the fresh air, a voice called out, "Hi Rice. I thought I'd find you here. And I was right. It's your friend who helped you fight the giant rooster boss. It's been a while since I've seen you in the game. I heard you defeated some queen or lizard queen. Is that right?" "Yeah, people have been talking about it. News spreads quickly." "Huh, no, I didn't intend to let many people know. No need to hide it. Don't you realize how awesome you are?" Surprised, Rice asked, "Why do you say that?" His friend laughed and said, "Isn't it interesting that you play the game just to cook? Not many people find joy in that like you do. Everyone wants the big rewards in real. But you're stronger than them and a great cook too. You're really talented. Can I be your ally in the future?" "But where are we going now?" "We're going to the integration server." "What's that?" "Haha, you're so naive, not knowing anything. This area is only for beginners. You're really kind and innocent. Yet how did you manage to create your character? I remember you had to choose the server." "Oh, I just clicked randomly. Lucky it was a male character. Otherwise it would have been a mess." After walking for a while, they arrived at the integration server. His friend excitedly shouted, "Hurry up, this is the real Korean server. So fresh and new." He ran ahead, and Rice could feel the atmosphere here was different from the beginners area. Over there, the air was fresh and peaceful. But here, everyone was eagerly fighting. His friend still shouted excitedly, "Yay, I'm no longer a novice." So he suggested they go hunting together to experience the new land. The monsters here were more diverse and fierce. Since Rice didn't like fighting, the two temporarily parted ways. Before leaving, his friend sang a melodious song that made Rice feel relaxed. He introduced himself. "This is my skill because my profession in the game is a bard." After saying goodbye, his friend went ahead, and Rice started looking for cooking ingredients. He walked into a nearby small town. Turco, although small, the town had quite a few shops. As soon as he entered, He heard the voices of NPC vendors. There were many stalls with all sorts of strange items that Rice had never seen. But he felt somewhat uneasy there. The town was spacious, but the population was sparse, making him think there might be some quest involved. After wandering around for a while, Rice found a small eatery. As soon as he entered, a middle-aged woman was already waiting. Judging by her curt way of speaking, she didn't seem very friendly. "What do you want?" "We only have bread and soup here." Rice was surprised that such a decent-sized eatery only had 2 simple dishes. But there was nothing he could do. So he accepted it. Looking at the 2 dishes in front of him, Rice doubted their tastiness but reassured himself. It might not be that bad. The food I've cooked here has been quite good, so it should be okay. However, the reality was worse than he had imagined. Just a sip of the soup made him spit it out because the taste was unbearable. The poor quality of the food explained why the place was so empty. This was Raya's worst culinary experience since entering the game. Coming from the very first restaurant he visited, the food was truly inedible. But Rice didn't leave because he valued food too much. As a chef, he believed in never wasting food. So, he added some chicken to the soup to enhance its flavor. Next, he added an egg to the bread, turning the bland dishes into a more appealing and appetizing meal. Finally, he sprinkled a bit of salt. With just a few small changes, the 2 mediocre dishes turned into delicious and enticing meals. Eating the soup added 7 experience points, and eating the bread added 5 experience points. Rice enjoyed his meal with delight. The chicken soup was rich and creamy, the chicken tender, and the bread, though slightly hard, was balanced by the egg. Nothing was more satisfying than enjoying delicious food. Seeing Rice eating heartily, the owner approached. "Are you a chef? Please help my restaurant." A question mark appeared above the NPC's head, indicating a new quest. The system notified, "You have received a new quest." In response to her question, Rice confirmed he was a chef. She continued to ask, "You seem very experienced. Do you cook as a hobby or are you a professional chef?" Rice turned to answer, but she had already disappeared. It turned out she was sitting nearby, tasting the soup Rice had remade. After tasting it, she frankly said, "I know my food isn't good, but please tell me honestly what you think of the food here." After her question, the system presented 2 choices, making Rice hesitate. One was to praise but lie. The other was to be honest but potentially offend her. But as a chef, Rice couldn't lie. He chose the honest answer. "It's not very good." Hearing this, she immediately seemed very upset. "I knew it. It's not good, right? Do you think I don't have the right to sell such dishes?" Seeing her reaction, Rice quickly tried to comfort her. Eventually, she calmed down and asked Rice to teach her how to make chicken soup. After some thought, Rice agreed to help. He gathered the ingredients and began instructing her. The system notified a new quest. Quest: Rosaline's Concern. Completion condition: cook for Rosaline and achieve over 70 satisfaction points. Reward: increased favorability. Linked quest. Very quickly, Rice finished cooking and placed the dish in front of Rosaline. The first dish he tried was the chicken soup, which he was very confident in. However, after tasting it, the NPC only gave a satisfaction rating of 32%. The reason was that she didn't like eating chicken. It was confusing because she had just praised it earlier but now complained. Next was the honey spread bread, which he was also very confident about. Suddenly, the satisfaction meter shot up. Surprising Rice, she exclaimed enthusiastically, "So delicious." Seeing her enjoy the food and praise it, Rice breathed a sigh of relief. Suddenly, she became pensive. "Your cooking skills remind me of someone from the spider silk forest." She began to tell a story. Previously, the village of Turco was bustling with tourists and merchants, densely populated with many shops. But one day, a blood-colored gate created by Demon King Raiden appeared in the sky. From it, thousands of demons flew out and attacked the village. They took away the healthy people and stole the villagers' knowledge, leaving behind those who were almost empty. I also completely lost my ability to cook, and I could only make this poor bread and soup. Rice curiously asked, "Why do you call me an outsider?" She explained, "Anyone who enters this world to save it is called an outsider." Suddenly, she expressed a desire to teach Rice how to cook. Rice was a bit surprised but agreed. The spices he was allowed to use were all natural. A new quest notification appeared. Quest: teach Rosaline to cook. Condition: cook 2 dishes according to Rosaline's recipes. Ingredients can be found around the village. Reward: increased favorability and royal jam recipe. Hidden achievement: recipe unlock. This made Rice very excited. So he accepted immediately. He said he would go find more ingredients. So Rice wandered around the village searching. Suddenly, he saw 3 people in the distance tending to an animal. Out of curiosity, Rice went closer to see. It was a very weak, trembling kitten. Ignoring the guys arguing, Rice stared at the cat. This is the first cat in the game. It can't be just an NPC. When Rice approached, a quest marker appeared above the cat's head. Rice thought this was part of the quest. So he moved closer. He gently stroked the kitten with 2 fingers to get acquainted. Come here. You must be very hungry, right? The kitten seemed to understand and let out a weak meow when Rice asked. Seeing this, Rice asked again, there's food here. Why aren't you eating? Is it not tasty? The kitten closed its eyes, smiled, and meowed twice in agreement with Rice. Really? It's not tasty? So cute. The 3 people nearby were amazed that the kitten could understand the question and respond. Fascinating. Rice was still enchanted by the kitten's cuteness. So adorable. This is why people love cats. Suddenly, the question mark above the kitten disappeared. Instead, 2 dialogue boxes appeared. Can you help me? I want to eat royal jelly. Without hesitation, Rice pressed accept. He knew royal jelly was a rare ingredient, and it wouldn't be easy to obtain. He remembered there was a bee field outside the forest. To get royal jelly, Rice would have to hunt bees for honey. He wondered if he could complete both quests at the same time. But the kitten's cuteness made it impossible for him to refuse. Profession quest: feed the kitten royal jelly. Reward unknown. Gently stroking the kitten, Rice softly said, wait here for a bit. I'll be back soon to feed you. Stay here, okay? But the kitten clung tightly to Raya's pants. Not wanting him to leave, he continued wandering around to find ingredients. Now, the town was busier and more bustling than when he first arrived. The sound of vendors calling out their wares filled the air, creating a lively market atmosphere. The game world had many strange items. One person was selling eyeballs. Another was selling stress stones with funny shapes. Unexpectedly, in a small corner, Rice discovered someone selling grilled chicken skewers for 5,000 W while he only sold them for 1,500 W each. It turned out to be someone who often bought from Rice to resell for profit. But Rice didn't interfere and continued his search for ingredients. As he was walking, someone called out from behind. It was Aeter, the crafter. Meeting Rice again, he greeted him cheerfully. Rice happily greeted back, thanking Aeter for the spider silk net that helped him defeat the lizard queen. Aeter was quite surprised that Rice could defeat the queen alone with basic equipment. Through Aeter's words, Rice learned that hunting alone was very dangerous, so having teammates would be safer. Rice was startled, realizing that he had always worked alone without needing anyone's help. Aeter laughed and said, "You're really amazing, Rice." "Very impressive," Rice modestly replied. "Just lucky." He asked, "Are you still making shoes?" "Aeter? Not just shoes. I make anything customers order," Aeter said. Rice took out ingredients from the lizard queen, surprising Aeter as it was his first time seeing such high-quality materials. Rice wanted to order a suit. Aeter agreed but mentioned they still needed a few more ingredients, so he asked Rice to gather them. After collecting enough ingredients, the two met in a garden corner. Aeter immediately took his tools and began working. When he started, Aeter's demeanor became extremely serious and focused. Aeter's skilled hands moved swiftly like a machine. Much to Raya's amazement, within a few hours, a beautiful outfit was completed. "It's so beautiful," Rice exclaimed. Thanks to the high-quality materials, Aeter received an achievement, adding 10 points to his dexterity. Rice loved the new outfit. Aeter said there was no need to pay because thanks to Rice, he had the opportunity to work with high-quality materials and receive an achievement. Finishing up, Aeter said, "Thanks to you, I've learned the valuable lesson of seizing opportunities immediately." The two said their goodbyes to attend to their own tasks. The scene shifted to a hunting area for spotted pigs. Two players were hiding behind a rock, waiting for their prey. The large pig was their target. The player holding a hammer nervously asked, "Do you think we can catch that one?" The other replied, "The vendor said we could catch one by ourselves." As the hammer-wielding player raised his weapon, the pig sensed the killing intent and charged at the two players. One threw a shield, but the pig swatted it away and then knocked both players over. At that moment, Rice arrived at the site to catch a pig for making samgyeopsal, a traditional Korean dish of grilled pork belly. Without saying much, Rice charged forward. With a single strike, he took down the large pig. Thanks to Rice, one player kept his life, while his friend fainted due to low defense. The remaining player thanked Rice. Looking at the pig carcass, he said, "I'll skin it now. Can you help me with the meat?" Hearing this, Rice suggested with a smile, "How about we have a samgyeopsal feast right here? Samgyeopsal was my favorite dish before I lost my sense of taste. My last meal was also this traditional dish, spent joyfully with friends and colleagues." After losing his sense of taste, Rice isolated himself and forgot the taste of his favorite dish. Today, thanks to his cooking skills, he could relive that flavor. Rice knew how to prepare the ingredients for samgyeopsal without needing a knife. Borrowing the other player's sword, Rice confidently made precise cuts to butcher the pig. In no time, the pig was perfectly butchered. The other player remarked, "He's so skilled. Does he work at a slaughterhouse? The meat looks as good as from a restaurant." The ingredient preparation was complete. Next, Rice set up a grill using the other player's shield. And so, the pork barbecue feast officially began. Rice eagerly said, "Place 3 slices of pork belly on the grill and start cooking. I wonder what samgyeopsal will taste like in the game. Can't wait to try it. The fat is dripping. Just looking at it makes my mouth water." The aroma and sizzling sound of the fat made Rice salivate uncontrollably. The mouth-watering smell of grilled meat attracted other players to gather around and watch. They chattered non-stop, "Oh god. He's really making samgyeopsal? The smell is amazing. I need to eat something before playing. It looks so delicious." As the meat turned brown, indicating it was cooked, Rice used a knife to cut it in half. The people around him were drooling. "Oh my god. He's about to eat the whole piece," a girl said, unable to resist. "Hey, can I have a piece? The meat looks so good." Holding the succulent piece of meat in his hand, Raya's face beamed with happiness. "It looks so good. I can't wait any longer," he said, taking a big bite and chewing slowly. "That's it, the sweet and fatty taste. The crispy outside and tender inside. The rich and buttery meat melting in my mouth. The sweet flavor captivating my tongue. Yes, my beloved samgyeopsal. Now I remember." Rice continuously enjoyed each piece with happiness on his face, as if he were reuniting with a long-forgotten favorite flavor. Seeing Rice eating so joyfully, the other player couldn't resist. "Oh god. I have to try it like that." He took a big bite and immediately exclaimed, "Oh my god. How can something taste this incredible? So delicious. How can such a dish exist? The amazing taste makes me weak in the knees." Suddenly, he stood up with his weapon, eyes shining. "I can't wait any longer. I'll make samgyeopsal for this quest. First, I need to catch a few dozen more pigs. Maybe even 100 to be enough. The pigs in the game are about to go extinct. From now on, mourn with the clan of spotted pigs." With excitement, Rice grabbed his weapon and charged towards the herd of pigs. The pigs could only run away from him now. One player recognized him. "That's Rice. The one who sells grilled chicken." No way. The scene shifted to a secret location, where the blonde girl was still following Rice closely. It wasn't clear what she was up to, but it seemed she wasn't plotting anything bad. Rather, she was looking for something in him. It turned out she wasn't alone here, she was with a group. Could they be the game developers? And the beautiful girl was the team leader. Hearing everyone talking about going to eat, the girl got a bit annoyed and said, "Attention everyone, tonight our team will have dinner together. And the menu is samgyeopsal. Everyone must be there." It seemed that watching Rice enjoy the dish so happily also made it hard for her to control herself. In the game, Rice was busy grilling meat and continuing to butcher pigs. This was the 389th pig he had processed that day. It was truly unlucky for the herd of pigs, as their extinction day was nearing. He had done it so many times that he could now do it with his eyes closed. Rice continued his work diligently. surrounded by a pile of pigs waiting to be processed. When he reached the 400th pig, he had to stop and rest due to fatigue. At that moment, the system notified, killing 400 pigs grants you the butcher skill at level F. This skill reduces wasted meat. Very useful for a chef like Rice. During his break, Rice turned back to enjoy some meat. Looking at the meat, he pondered, should I use this dish for the quest? If it's for the quest, I should make it a bit better. Rice thought to himself, if I sprinkle a little salt on the meat, added some grilled lettuce leaves, garlic, chili, and rice for a perfect combination. Eating this with a bowl of cold noodles would be pure happiness. After a while, only 20 points of fullness and 19 pieces of samgyeopsal were left. At this point, he was out of salt. Rice remembered his chef skill, chef's luck. He activated it and asked the system, salt. I need salt immediately. The system generated 2 jars of salt for him. Rice returned to grilling the meat. Oh God, it's so hot. I'm drenched in sweat from sitting by the fire for so long. Maybe I'm the first person to grill pork in this game. After having only 19 pieces of samgyeopsal left, Rice was tired and decided to save them for later. He thought about wandering around to find more vegetables. He needed to find something to eat along the way. After some searching, he gathered carrots and cucumbers. Now, he only needed to find honey and royal jelly. Suddenly a giant bee flew out and attacked. Fortunately, Rice dodged its poisonous stinger just in time. The monsters here were more aggressive, always actively attacking players. Rice was on high alert, drawing his weapon and shield. He activated the weak point skill to observe the bee, but it was too fast, diving at him, forcing him to roll out of the way. Through many hunting experiences, Rice had become more skilled. He stood up, observing the bee's weak points. When it charged again, Rice was ready. He used the focused strength skill to stab straight into the bee's abdomen. With a single blow to the weak point, Rice defeated it and obtained the honey. Immediately after, a swarm of bees rushed at him, preparing to attack. Rice wasn't scared but stood his ground, ready to fight. He raised his shield, skillfully deflecting their attacks, then activated his weak point skill to pinpoint their vulnerabilities. With precision and power, he unleashed his focused strength, delivering swift and deadly strikes, bringing them all down in a matter of moments. After 30 minutes, Rice had wiped out the entire swarm. He took out a jar of honey and tasted it. Just a small lick on his fingertip, and the sweetness made him feel like a honey-addicted bear. Unable to control himself, he drank an entire jar of honey. His face twisted with pleasure. He couldn't help but crave more. I have to find more beehives until I get enough. Suddenly, a scream echoed from afar. Oh no. She's gone mad. 3 players nearby were paralyzed, unable to move due to the venom of a giant bee. This bee was more ferocious than the ones Rice had defeated. It seemed to be the queen bee. They had grown overconfident, vastly overestimating their abilities, and now they were about to become the creature's next meal. Facing its monstrous size, Rice was filled with terror. A cold, chilling message from the system echoed. The assassin queen bee is enraged and sees you as an enemy. The 3 players panicked, turning on each other in blame. Even if we only feel 30% of the pain compared to the real world, being stung by this thing will still be deadly. This is all your fault. Did you really think 3 low-level players could take on a monster like this? This is a game, but it's not a joke. The queen bee gave them no time to react. Launching its attack, the first player was caught in its deadly grip. Completely powerless. With a powerful thrust, its massive stinger sliced through the air, delivering a fatal blow. The 2 remaining players scrambled to flee, but the queen bee's venom coursed through their bodies, paralyzing them before they could take more than a few steps, and they collapsed in defeat. 1 more player fell, telling his friend before he disappeared, "Don't pick up my stuff." Finally, only Macho King was left. Knowing he couldn't escape, he decided to confront the boss head-on. But like the others, he couldn't do anything. Just as he was about to be taken by the queen bee, Rice suddenly appeared, stabbing the bee in the abdomen and saving him. At this moment, Raya's mind was clouded by the honey. He thought only, if I defeat the queen bee, I'll surely get royal jam from the hive. So he was determined to win. The queen bee's frenzied attacks forced Rice to constantly block with his shield. Thanks to his experience, Rice managed to hold his own. He used the bee's moments of pause to counterattack. The battle raged on, intense and unrelenting. Despite Rice landing multiple blows on the queen bee, it remained resilient, refusing to give in. He activated his weak point skill, zeroing in on the creature's vulnerability. With precision, he unleashed focused strength, delivering a devastating strike. A burst of brilliant golden light illuminated the battlefield, followed by a deafening explosion. The queen bee let out a final, agonizing cry before crashing to the ground with a heavy thud. Rice stood victorious. He received the queen bee's wings and, most importantly, a jar of royal jelly. Rice was overjoyed to see the jelly but was so focused on his victory and reward that he forgot there was someone else there. Macho King thanked him and wanted to become his assistant to repay him. But Rice felt awkward and declined. However, the player insisted, "If not an assistant, then let me be your servant." After escaping his persistence, Rice returned to the town. Remembering the clingy encounter, he shivered. While walking, Rice noticed a tall tree. What kind of tree is this? I've never seen it before. Maybe there are some special fruits at the top that I can use for cooking. His mind was always on cooking. He climbed up using his lizard skill. At the top of the tree, he found a bird's nest with a few eggs. These are mayonnaise eggs, grade 1 freshness, perfect for making mayonnaise when mixed with sugar and salt. Rice was amazed that the game had such things. The game was becoming more interesting, with many mysteries waiting for him to discover. Returning to the town, he saw the three guys still gathered around the kitten. Look at it. It's so weak it can't move anymore. It must be because it hasn't eaten all day. Where's the person who took the quest to get food for it? As they were talking, Raya's voice came from behind. I've got the food right here. His appearance was gentle at that moment. The kitten, though tired, was delighted, trembling as it lifted its head and meowed joyfully. I'm sorry for making you wait so long. He had discovered the mayonnaise eggs, so he wandered around until evening before returning. Fortunately, he made it back in time, otherwise, the kitten might have been exhausted. Then, a heartwarming scene of a hero rescuing the kitten unfolded. Rice took out the jar of royal jam and held it in front of the kitten. My dear, I found your favorite treat. The kitten slowly approached, sniffing to confirm it was indeed its favorite. The three guys finally realized that Rice had taken the quest from this kitten.